and welcome to this season's episode of Take the Lead Executive. As a part of this thought leadership fireside chat series, we reach out to our community of top leadership voices to share their views on what they believe will define the year ahead. In today's episode, I have with me a leader who comes with almost 2 decades of experience with tech enterprises and startups and a pioneer in media technology, helping companies spearhead their revenue strategy, revenue growth, and revenue operations. He's also been pivotal in driving GTM plans, sales strategies, business trend analysis, planning, and executing new customer acquisition initiatives to spread growth journeys at scale. Please welcome my guest, Vinod Kumar Nagarajan, Global Director of Revenue Strategy and Operations at Amagi Corporation, a global leader in SaaS technology planning, end-to-end cloud-managed live and on-demand video infrastructure for TV and OTT. Hi Vinod, great to have you here. I look forward to spending the next few minutes of understanding how RevOps has been orchestrating the customer journey.
Anirudh, thank you. And thank you for the invitation at the LinkedIn studios. It's always a pleasure catching up with you.
So my first icebreaker question would be, I know that you're an avid traveler, you love food and you love music. One place where you've traveled, which is very close to your heart, one food item, and the best favorite music of yours.
Traveled to a lot of places around the world, but I think the closest to the heart is here in India, in Goa. It's always a fun time, whether you're traveling solo, traveling with family, or traveling with friends. In terms of the food, I think pizza and biryani. And I think music, it's always been the Bollywood music. I'm the 90s kid.
Our customers' value has always been the heart of whether it is LinkedIn or Amagi. So I want to understand in this new generation, new era of digital era, where do you feel that revenue operations, how revenue orchestration is defined and helping organizations to grow at scale?
Yeah, I think love the jargons, revenue orchestration, revenue operations. I think we're never short of jargons. But revenue orchestrations, I think, is gaining momentum more than any time in the past, right? I mean, if you look at today's world, the amount of technology that we have, right? The amount of sophistication that we have at our fingertips today, and that leads to a lot of data. And I think everything boils down to your customer. So if you look at your customer in this entire journey of from they selecting you, in fact, they start interacting with you even before they come to your website or interact with you through any other forms, right? Whether at a live event or anywhere, right from that position to they interacting with you to they're talking to you about, hey, is there a possible connect? Can we do business together? Do we doing business together and then continuing and from becoming a lead to a customer advocate in the future? I think that entire journey needs to be tied together and needs to be around your customer. And how do you get your people, data, processes, and the technology today? I think technology cannot be taken out of this mix anymore, right? I think how do you orchestrate all of that together is where revenue orchestration, I think, is becoming very popular, very strong. And I think your customer is liking it too, because they can feel the difference when you're just trying to wing it versus when there is a thought process that is in play right from the very beginning. And I think that's where revenue orchestration and revenue operations go hand in hand. I think they're like bread and cheese together.
Amazing. You are a cross-functional partner to the sales team, right? Being a cross-functional partner, do you foresee any addressable gaps?
Definitely, yes. I think the biggest gap that most companies typically face is these different departments coming together, right? You've got your marketing, you've got your sales, you've got your customer success, but not just these. I think your finance team, right? Your product team, your engineering team, I think everybody touches the customer story today. I don't think anybody has the freedom to work in your silos. So I think the biggest addressable gap that is today is, hey, how do you unite all of these different departments within your company to speak the same story, which is the customer story? Because it's not about us being comfortable with the product and process and everything else, but it's that customer and their journey throughout with us. How do we make that more comfortable? And I think that addressable gap of how do you bring all of these people and processes and everything together, I think is today still a gap and still a challenge. And I think companies are still working towards making this a better thing.
Oh, very nice. You lead Amagi's revenue strategy, revenue growth, as well as revenue operations. Can you shed some light on the different aspects involved in each of these functions, and how does this align with Amagi's revenue growth?
Yeah, I think you said revenue strategy, you said revenue operations, you said revenue growth. Definitely all intertwined, right? Think about it. Amagi, um, as I'm currently with Amagi, but any other company, any SaaS company, non-SaaS company that you look at, I think you don't want to go out to the market without having a clear thought process of who your customers are and who do you want to, right? While even if it's a very generic product like a HR or a CRM, I think the world is not your boulevard. I think you have very specific niches and customers that you can target. So I think that's where revenue strategy comes into play. Is, hey, how do you select those niches so that you can go out there? Because the resources and the energy and the time that you have is limited. So you really cannot go after everyone. You would want to be very focused. So I think that's where revenue strategy plays. Is, hey, at the very beginning, is that how do you cater, how do you understand that niche, right? How do you understand that ideal customer profile? Ideal company profile becomes very, very critical. So right from that part of strategy becoming very critical, and then once you know that this is the path that I want to go, how do your people follow that path, right? And that's where your sales processes, your marketing processes, your marketing thought processes, all of these come into play. So that's where your entire operations typically falls into place, right? So there's strategy, there's operations, and obviously strategy and operations leads to your growth. You want more customers, you want more revenue. It's not just more customers. I think in today's world, more happy customers is what is more critical, because given everything around the world, acquiring a customer or building that first relationship with a customer has become an expensive endeavor. It's not easy anymore, right? And once you have acquired a customer, I think you need to respect the customer's choice. You need to keep the customer, and then you need to push that customer to become an advocate. And I think that's where revenue strategy, revenue operation plays a very critical role in trying to ensure that that ROI, that relationship that is there, is at its peak.
Vinod, can you help us understand, because this is a new function in companies today? Can you help us understand a little bit more about what are the things, what are the different aspects of revenue operations?
Yeah, great question. So, revenue operations, I think, as it evolved, right? I think it evolved more as sales ops, right? You had these different ops, right? You had sales team, which would have its own operations wing, which was called sales ops. Then you had your marketing team, which had its own ops wing, which was called as marketing ops. Then you had customer success and fin ops and so on and so forth. But I think, over a period of time, what we've realized is that all of these cannot function in silos. They all need to come together. And I think that's where revenue operations came together. And today, if you look at revenue operations, it typically touches from your marketing to your sales, to your customer success, finance, and beyond. And I think all of this together is technology, right? If you look at what do we do on a daily basis, right from deciding, hey, which are the markets that a company should pursue, which are the different companies that we should go after, building that entire ideal customer profile, to ensuring that all of the technologies that you have, right, they are implemented well, they talk to one another, the processes that are there are easy, not just for your sales folks, but for your customer as well, so that everyone is able to work through these processes and these technologies. I think sales commissions and compensation, marketing commissions and compensation, that's something that you manage. So right from planning to process to technology to commissions and compensation, and narrating that entire story, right? And how do you narrate that entire story? And which is, I think, the critical part, which is metrics and data. And I think call us the Excel jockeys or the data jockeys or whatever, but I think how do you look at all of these different pockets? How do you get that insights from each of this data, and what story is it telling? I think we try and tell that story not just to our internal folks, who is our sales and marketing and our entire leadership, right up to the founders, but also to the outside world and to our customer, right? We never interact directly with the customer, but I think the story that we are telling reflects very well when a customer is going through this journey. So I think that's the aspects that we typically touch on a daily basis.
Amazing. You spoke about integrating all the functions together and making them run.
Yes.
With that, you work very closely with sales. What are some of the sales tools which you use, and how are you integrating that with your sales processes?
Yeah, I think I just don't look at sales. For me, when I say, for me, it's more revenue than just sales. I mean, we all know this for a fact, right? We have lots and lots of tools available today at our disposal, right? And it's very tempting too. It's like, oh, wait, can I pick this? Can I pick this? Can I pick this? Um, I think as a RevOps person, it's a big challenge for you today. Is hey, what is really needed for a company, right? It's not always necessary that you need the number one tool that's available in the market. Why? Because at the current process or at the current juncture that you are as a company, you probably just need the features of the third best company that's out there, and probably that's all you need sometimes throughout your company's life cycle. You don't need the first, right? So I think that's one of the toughest decisions that we make, is that, hey, do we always go with the best, or do we always need all the features that are available out there? And I think both the revenue operations and the functional leaders, I think that's one of the critical mistakes that we typically make, is you get tempted. Sometimes more becomes amazing, but I think sometimes less is more amazing. So selecting those tools, when we look at the tools, I think marketing automation, right at the starting point, is a very critical tool for any company which is serious about growth. You should invest in a marketing automation software early on. From your sales perspective, I think your CRM is the most critical. Always invest in a good CRM. Please understand that don't go for the largest player out there. I think knowing what you do and what customers you want to really go after, I think should define your CRM selection strategy, right? Your sales needs to be managed well, the funnel needs to be managed well. So I think a revenue intelligence tool which ties all of these together, I think, is a very critical component. When I told marketing and I said marketing automation, I think marketing automation, to put it on fire, you need data, right? Marketing automation without data is of no use at all. So how do you have a very powerful data tool? And I think LinkedIn is not just data. LinkedIn is a lot more than data. So you need a data provider and you need a relationship provider. I think LinkedIn comes in with both data and relationship, and then you need a data provider. So you start with that. You have your marketing automation, you have your CRM, you have your revenue intelligence, and then your customer success, right? You can no longer think your customer success as a different tool. I think that tool needs to talk to all of these tools. If it's not talking and it's a silo, I think your customer feels that disconnect that's there, because after you have done your sales as a salesperson, you're not going to handhold them for the rest of the journey, right? You ideally want to pass them along to your customer success, who are the experts at relationship management and helping the customer better. So the customer should not feel that disconnect. So how does your customer success or customer management tool talk through all of these? And then your billing and finance, right? Obviously from an ERP to a simple billing solution, but I think your billing solution also needs to be integrated to all of this. So if you look at the different pockets, I think these would be the main that I would say is any company which is serious about growth needs to have a great a data tool, right? Which starts from a database management to a relationship management like LinkedIn, to your marketing automation, to your CRM, to your revenue forecasting and revenue management tool overall, and then your customer success and your overall FinOps or finance ops tools. I think if you have these, and then there are a plethora of things that you can do with different roles that are there, right? How do you ensure that your sales rep has the maximum time in front of your customer, trying to understand what is their pain point, and then B, trying to solve that, right? I think everything else is secondary. I think if your tools and technologies is able to do that and give your sales rep that extra time, I think you have a winning technology stack.
Great. You actually touched upon the core, which is data. And this is actually one of the things which I picked up from your email signature was, we believe in God, but rest all is data. Yes. And I think the accuracy of data in today's world, to exclude that noise out of that so that your sellers have access to real-time accurate data, I think that is very critical for any organization to focus upon.
So true.
Thank you so much for that, Vinod. My last question to you would be, one tip you would like to share with your sales operations community and sales leaders out there in how they would like to leverage LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn Sales Navigator, I have been using forever now, right? In the different companies, I think one of the biggest misconceptions that's out there is that, hey, Sales Navigator is only a sales tool. It's not. I think as a sales ops person, if you understand the true strength of it, it's amazing how you can integrate that with your marketing, to your sales, to your customer success journey. I think that's one thought process that I would live. And I think to all the sales ops folks who are out there, I think the message to you is, I know there's a lot of pressure internally, but everything that you do, I think keep your customer and keep your data as the core focus. And I think build all of the processes and everything that you do on a daily basis around these two. I think your internal stakeholders will automatically be happy. Don't bog down to pressure.
Thank you, Vinod, for sharing your thoughts. And thank you, LinkedIn, for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Take care and stay safe.